Today we're talking with Jocelyn, Joshua, and Daryl. They're a family who in North Carolina is able to take care of their son with help from Medicaid's CAP-C program. And Jocelyn, I wonder if you could just introduce your family to us and tell us a little bit about your family and Medicaid and how that all works.
Okay. Well, this is my son, Joshua, and my husband, Daryl. And just so you know, Joshua was born with a rare genetic disorder, a disorder that made him he had a liver transplant. So after Joshua's liver transplant, the underlying cause caused damage to his brain. Mm-hmm. So what you see here today is Joshua, he has cerebral palsy, and it's from the genetic disorder that he had called OTC. But what OTC left us with after the transplant also is dealing with Joshua's cerebral palsy. And in dealing with his cerebral palsy comes a lot of medical bills, as well as the liver transplant itself requires a lot of medical attention. Whereas we do have the state plan, Blue Cross and Blue Shields of North Carolina. My husband is a state employee, but it's still not enough. So what we did, we applied for a program which is CAP-C, and that program funds kids who are medically fragile, and Joshua fits in that category. And so what it does, it supplements our insurance. I've also...
So now, let me just ask you, I mean, you've got the state health plan.
Correct.
And Joshua's covered under the state health plan.
Correct.
But obviously, because he's smiling at you,
Sweet.
but he needs a lot of care that the state health plan doesn't cover, right?
Correct.
And that care is enormously expensive.
Correct.
And so could you just tell us some of those expenses that you as a family would have to pay out?
Yes. Well, the state plan does pay for some of his therapies, but which would leave us with a lot of co-pays. Mm-hmm. So what Medicaid does, it pays our co-pays. And also Joshua is able, by having CAP-C, he's able to have great care. If he only had the state plan, he would not have the type of care that he's getting. So Joshua receives feeding therapy because Joshua is at risk for aspirating. We have therapists working with Joshua on swallowing. He does have a G-tube as well. But also Joshua has equipment. This wheelchair is $6,000.
So just the wheelchair right there.
Just the
$6,000.
wheelchair. His braces on his feet are $948. They're a piece of plastic.
And so those are things that the
Medicaid.
state, the CAP-C is paying for, but the state would not be paying for through the state health plan. It just wouldn't cover it.
Well, what they'll do is pay a percentage.
They'll pay a percentage of it, but there are thousands and thousands of dollars of bills.
Yeah.
And would you say, is it fair to say there's thousands of dollars in bills every month? Every month.
Definitely.
Wow.
Yeah. And I know definitely if CAP-C goes away, it will put a lot of stress on our family. For example, because Joshua has a pre-existing condition, it has affected our family in general, like my husband, who is a state employee.
And what do you do for the state?
I work in IT.
IT.
Yeah. Right now, I currently work over at NC State.
So we're scared of losing our insurance. But what it does is it locks us. He can't just accept the best paying job. He has to accept the job with the insurance. Who's going to carry Joshua because of his pre-existing condition?
Right.
But everything must come out of that budget. So a lot of times I'm choosing.
So when you say a budget, you're looking at every penny that gets spent by CAP-C, is that right?
Every penny, I'm looking at it.
And you're trying to get the best care you can at the least possible cost.
And prioritize.
And prioritize.
What is most important. For example, right now Joshua needs a special bed. The bed is $7,000. Insurance has denied me twice. I've taken it to appeal. They've denied me twice. But his Medicaid budget says, well, he can have it, but he doesn't have enough money in his budget to get it. So what do? I'm trying to figure out what can I cut away so Joshua can have the bed for at least a year. So some of the things that I've done so far with the CAP C, taking Joshua to a doctor's office as opposed to having the therapies at home would not come out his CAP budget. But what it does is it puts more stress on me transporting him to all these therapies. And the chances of me missing some are going to be greater because of, I am working a little bit. Plus, I have.
So you work as well.
I work
in
as well.
addition to taking
I work
care
as
of
well.
Joshua and 2 other kids. So what do you do?
I actually am a registered nurse.
You're a registered nurse.
Yes.
Oh, wow. So that's.
But pretty much what I'm doing now is kind of out of the home care agency.
Right.
So what has happened since Joshua has come along, I'm not able to work full time. As Joshua continued to improve, I can work a little bit more. So each year it has gotten a little bit better where I can work.
So let me ask you, you said you guys are looking to try and get this $7,000 bed that Joshua needs.
Right.
But even with your private health insurance or health insurance through the state, even with the CAP C, they're not going to pay for that and the current, some of the current therapies that he's getting right now. So you're actually having to choose for him between this $7,000 bed that he needs or these other therapies that he needs too. So
and all of it is equally important.
Well, as a mom, for Joshua, would you, if you didn't have that limit, what would you get at both of those?
I would get it all for Joshua.
With the bed, like at night, he tends to get choked because of the position he's in. So it disrupts, a lot of our sleep. So we're constantly worried about him, and we constantly throughout the night check on him. If we hear him cough, we're jumping up. So we don't typically get a good night's rest. But with this bed, it would mitigate a lot of the problems we have worrying about him at night and whether or not he's going to get a good night's rest and his safety.
He's into his dad. I can tell that. So these things are just sound like they're critically important. I know you guys have heard about and are following the budget cuts. We were talking about that earlier in Raleigh. And what would you say to legislators who are talking about cutting the budget in Medicaid and health choice and health care?
Well, I would definitely say I understand that we do have a budget crisis. But I think they should, talk to the families who will be impacted so they can see the severity of a decision they're about to make without just haphazardly making this decision and not looking at the long-term ramifications.
Exactly.
And what would you say?
And also, I would like to say, these children and a lot of this population are people who can't speak for themselves.